Most Christians are not exhausted from sin. They're exhausted from trying to repair a self that Scripture says already died. And that quiet misunderstanding reshapes an entire spiritual life. Paul says in Romans 6, our old self was crucified with him. Crucified. Not improved, not managed, not gradually upgraded. Crucified. That language is not therapeutic. It's terminal. And then Romans 7 appears. I do not do the good I want. And suddenly, the Christian life sounds like permanent inner conflict. So which is it? Are you a divided person trapped in an endless war? Or are you someone whose old identity has already been put to death? This tension has shaped modern Christianity more than most people realize. Because many believers live as if Romans 7 is their permanent address. Constant struggle, constant self-analysis, constant disappointment. But Romans 7 is not the conclusion. Romans 8 is. There is now no condemnation. The Spirit of life has set you free. Has. Not will, not might. Has. The difference is not effort. It is identity. Romans 7 describes life lived from identification with the flesh, a self trying to obey God from separation. The mind agrees, the will strains, the behavior collapses, because the starting point is still a divided self. Romans 8 shifts the axis entirely. The conflict dissolves not because rules disappear, but because identity relocates. If you see yourself as a sinner trying to become spiritual, your life becomes oscillation. Resolve, failure, shame, repeat. That cycle feels spiritual, but it's identity confusion. Identity precedes behavior. Always. This does not mean actions are irrelevant. They matter deeply. At the relative level, harm wounds people. Addictions destroy trust. Lies fracture relationships. Consequences are real. Growth takes time. Healing unfolds gradually. Nothing about this erases responsibility. But responsibility is different from identity. When Paul says, "It is no longer I who live," he is not erasing the human being. He is dethroning the false center. The I that believed itself separate. The I that performed for proximity. The I that feared rejection. That I loses its throne. And participation replaces performance. Most Christians are trying to rehabilitate an identity that Scripture says was already crucified. That creates spiritual exhaustion. You wake up trying to defeat what has already died. You pray harder, you confess longer, you monitor yourself constantly. But you're trying to improve a ghost. Colossians says, you have died and your life is hidden with Christ in God. Hidden. Not absent, not distant, hidden by misidentification. If you wake up assuming distance, you will spend your day trying to close it. If you wake up from distance, obedience shifts from anxiety to expression. Now, this must be said carefully. This is not spiritual bypassing. Temptation still appears, habits still surface, patterns still require patience. Sanctification is real at the experiential level, but it unfolds from union, not toward it. From identity, not toward identity. The foundation determines the posture. If you believe you are fundamentally separate, even your obedience will feel like negotiation. If you see clearly, obedience becomes alignment. There's a difference between fighting for approval and living from belonging. One creates fear, the other creates steadiness. So when you say I, who are you referring to? The divided struggler trying to secure God? Or the one already alive in Him? Everything reorganizes around that answer. The Christian life was never meant to be religious self-improvement. It was meant to be death and resurrection. Not of the body, of the identity that thought it stood apart. If this destabilizes you, stay steady. Destabilization is not destruction. It is clarity replacing assumption. And clarity is gentler than fear. If this reframes something deeply for you, stay with this work. We are not dismantling faith. We are removing distortion. Next week, we continue examining identity, calmly, carefully, line by line. And if you're navigating this personally and want structured guidance, my email is in the description.